I think with maturity comes less challenges. I could see the huge impact that AI would be having on the world, and that would have a human rights impact. It would have a geopolitical impact. It would just impact everybody's lives. I think that we are blazing a trail in making sure that the AI that's being created is actually being created in a way that's human-centered. We have a duty to bring up our girls and boys to believe that they can be scientists. I think that it's important that we understand the need for diversity in AI and data, and we think about how we're bringing our children up to learn to live with AI.
Hi, this is Loris Morini, and you're listening to the Discovering Data podcast. We're here because we want to take responsibility for how data influences the world, and we want to enable individuals on our teams to achieve their highest potential. This show is for you if you want to understand the industry, find your tribe, and accelerate your growth. We bring you conversations with thought and practice leaders from all over the world and create opportunities to connect and to learn as a community. Our new home is at discoveringdata.com, where you'll find a forum to connect with data leaders like you, episode transcripts, best quotes, and other material that can help you learn and apply your knowledge at work. If you have any feedback or ideas you'd like to share, please reach out to me directly on LinkedIn or Twitter. And now join me for this new episode. Let's stay curious and keep discovering data. Hi and welcome to Trailblazer, a series of short interviews designed to showcase exceptional data leaders. In this series, we'll learn that anyone can dare to lead, and we hope to inspire many more women in particular to lead the data conversation. My name is Loris Morini. I'm the founder and CEO of Discovering Data, a community of people that want to connect and learn from one another. And above all, they want to take responsibility for how data impacts the world around us. This series is produced in partnership with Women in AI, a nonprofit do tank working towards inclusive AI. And I have the fortune to co-host this series with Debbie Botha, Chief Partnership Officer at Women in AI. So, today's Trailblazer is Kay Firth-Butterfield, Head of Artificial Intelligence and a member of the Executive Committee at the World Economic Forum. Kay is one of the foremost experts in the world when it comes to governance of AI. She is a barrister, former judge and professor, technologist and entrepreneur who has an abiding interest in how humanity can equitably benefit from new technologies, especially AI. She has been consistently recognized as a leading woman in AI since 2018 and was featured in the New York Times as one of the 10 women changing the landscape of leadership. So here we are with Kay Firth-Butterfield. Kay, thank you for being with us and welcome to Trailblazer.
Thank you. It's an absolute honor to be with you.
Kay, I would also like to say really thank you and congratulations on all the fabulous work that you're doing. You're a true trailblazer. We'd like to know from you, how did you get to the phenomenal personality in data and AI that you are today, and what were the main challenges along the way?
Oh, I think that the reason that I'm here is that I care and always have cared enormously about what happens to humanity as we develop. And so that has included my work as a human rights lawyer. It's in now encompassing all that I do, thinking about governance of artificial intelligence, the way that we use artificial intelligence to solve some of those intractable problems. At the moment, we're just starting a project around how we use AI to detect and contain wildfires. And we know that that's something that is so important to do. So what are the challenges? I mean, I don't think that I have had as many challenges as many of the young women who will be listening. I think that's partly because this is a sort of third career for me. I did the barrister and judge piece, and then I became the professor, and then I moved into being the world's first chief AI ethics officer. And so I think with maturity comes less challenges. You see, I used the word maturity instead of old age.
So, Kay, I was brushing up before this interview, and I found that you started work in data ethics in 2015 with the IEEE, then essentially pioneered the field, and that became then a top priority for many teams and many people now thinking, oh, there is such a thing like as ethics in AI. What was your, let's say, inspiration to dive into that field? What and who perhaps if there was one particular person as a mentor that it's really dear to you?
Yes, I think that the inspiration was the fact that, I had the human rights background. I could see the huge impact that AI would be having on the world. And that would have a human rights impact. It would have a geopolitical impact. It would just impact everybody's lives. And I wanted to make sure that it impacted everybody's lives for the better. And so that's really what drove me. In terms of mentors, I guess that, the fact that DeepMind had, before selling themselves to Google, had said, we have to have an ethics committee here because this is such important work that we're doing and the way that it'll change the world. I think that was incredibly groundbreaking. Stuart Russell and Max Tegmark and Stephen Hawking, they were all talking at that time in 2014 when I accepted the AI ethics officer, about the challenges that we would be facing with AI. And it's really the fact that they sowed those seeds that allowed John Havens, who's an absolutely tremendous trailblazer in this space, to talk the IEEE into letting us do this amazing work that we've done around standard setting and AI.
Awesome. And, you've been involved in and working for very impactful and inspirational companies. And, I wonder, what is the state of women working in these impactful companies? And what can we as women in AI or women in general do to fill the gap?
Okay, so I think that one of the things that we are seeing is that whilst, according to one of the reports we put out at the World Economic Forum, only 22% of AI scientists are actually women. What we are seeing is that there are a lot of women working in my space. And so if you look at it, the lead of responsible AI at Salesforce, Microsoft, and Google, for example, they're all women. And so although we haven't yet caught up with the education in science that leads us to be part of the day-to-day workforce, I think that we are blazing a trail in making sure that the AI that's being created is actually being created in a way that's human-centered.
When you think about the problem of diversity in general, but in particular in data and AI, and how do you think about the problem? How do you decompose it? What can we do as a community as opposed to close these gaps in practice?
Yeah, so I think that as women, we have a duty to bring up our girls and boys to believe that they can be scientists as well as sort of girls falling into humanities. It tends to happen when they're in their 12 early teens, and you really have to give them those guiding hands. So as parents, I think we have a very important role to play. My daughter is a pilot, and so I had to make sure that she kept going on the road that she had set herself. So first of all, I think that it's important that we understand the need for diversity in AI and data, and we think about how we're bringing our children up to learn to live with AI, because they're going to work with it, they're going to be cared for it, cared for by AI tools, and so they need to do that. Second thing, at the moment, we don't have sufficient female data scientists and AI scientists. And so one of the things that we're talking about with bias and thinking about diversity is, well, don't just let the engineers do the work by themselves. When you start your project, bring in diverse community, bring in a community that looks like the people that you're going to sell to. And I reckon that you're always going to find a woman and a person of color and all the other biases that we have problems with AI in that customer set. So you should make sure that you include them. So at the moment, that's the way that I think we need to include women and others in, I was going to say minorities, but of course we women are not a minority. But that's the way we bring people in at the moment.
Yes, awesome. Because we have to bring the right people to the strategy table from the start, and then into the teams, and then into the solutions. So great. Oh, I think we can talk for hours here, Kay. Thank you so much. So how can we get hold of you?
Yes.
Anybody
Yes.
that wants to.
Oh, anyone
Yeah.
who wants to get hold of me, it's very easy. Getting hold of me through LinkedIn, obviously. Say that you heard this and get hold of me via LinkedIn. Also, if you want to just get hold of me through the forum, it's ai@weforum.org. So it's really easy to remember. And I always really want to welcome people into our work. If you have expertise in any area that we're thinking about governance in, or that we're thinking about changing the world with AI in, we obviously want to hear from you.
Kay, thank you very much for this short interview. We used to perhaps a longer format here on the Discovering Data podcast, but this has been short and intense. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much. It was really fantastic to have you.